All right, what's going on YouTube? This is BoxingWave. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Before we get started with this breakdown, we have a lot of boxing today. A lot. The big fight between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz, the biggest fight of the year, is on today, 12 p.m. Eastern on the Zone. All right, that's when the undercard starts. 12 p.m. Eastern. Very, very early because the fight is out in Saudi Arabia and their time is like way ahead of ours. All right, so 12 p.m. Eastern, we will be getting the fight. All right. Um, the main fight starts at 3:45 p.m. So if you don't want to watch all of the undercards, very good undercards. So I would try to tune in if you want to see some good boxing. There's a lot of good fights, all right, on this undercard, especially heavyweight fights. But the main event, Anthony Joshua is supposed to be walking out at 3:45 p.m. All right, but 12 p.m. is the pre-fights, and I will be covering the fight live. That's just in 2 hours. So I will be here covering the entire card. So I will be on here talking boxing, just talking about the matchups, everything that's going on. I won't be showing the fight, but I will be talking about the fight as I'm watching it. So if you guys want to chat and just discuss boxing in the chat room, that would be appreciated. You know, the more the better. All right. So I will be here on 12 p.m. Eastern doing the entire card. So be back here at 12 p.m. Eastern. All right. Also, later on tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on Showtime, Charlo will be fighting Dennis Hogan. That's the fight that I'm going to. I did pick up tickets, so I won't be covering the fight live. But if you want to watch the fight, it's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern on Showtime Sports, not Fox Sports or anything like that. I know it's PBC, but it's going to be on Showtime. All right, so if you want to watch fight, this is going to be way after the zone card, so you'll be able to watch the zone card and watch this card as well later on that night. But I won't be covering that fight live because I'm going to the fight, so I'll be there tonight, guys. Also, ESPN Plus will have a card as well. You have a small card. Uh, you have Emmanuel Navarrete is going to be fighting. I believe it's at 9 p.m. Eastern as well. All right. I did check, but I forgot the time. But double check. I believe it's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you don't have Showtime, and you don't have the zone, and you just want to watch some boxing, check out the that fight. Navarrete is going to be defending his title at 122, not against a big name or anything like that, but he's a pretty explosive knockout fighter. He did stop Dog Page twice. Well, he beat him the first time, and he stopped him recently. But he's been active. He's been doing his thing. I believe this is like his fourth fight this year alone. All right, so if you just want to watch some kind of boxing, that will be on. All right. So we have a lot of boxing, as you can see, but I will be back here in 2 hours to cover the Anthony Joshua rematch with Andy Ruiz. All right. So let's talk about Charlo and Dennis Hogan. Not the matchup that I really wanted to see. Okay, this is Hogan's another fighter that's moving up from 154 to challenge Charlo for his WBC championship. But I'm going to the fight to support him. You know, I support the Charlo twins. Those are my guys. So I'll be going to the fight regardless. All right. I'm actually bringing my little niece with me. She actually watches my videos, and she doesn't know. Hopefully, she doesn't see this video, but I'll be bringing her to the fight later on tonight. All right. Um, so I'll be at the fight, and I'm gonna go to support them. This is a good. I really like the Chris Eubank Matt Korobov fight though. That's a good fight. That's gonna be on the undercard. It's like the co-main event, but that's gonna be a good matchup right there. All right, so let's talk about Charlo against Hogan. I'm not expecting too much from Hogan. Hogan is very tricky. He moves extremely well. He's definitely going to be using his lateral movement in this fight like he did against Jaime Munguia. I think Hogan did win that fight. I think he was robbed in that fight. I don't scream robbery for everything, but I do think legit Dennis Hogan won 8 of those rounds. Legit. Clearly to me. You know, a clear 8 rounds to me. All right. What I saw in that fight, a lot of lateral movement. Like I said, he will pick his time to jump in, throw some combination, and step out. But the problem with Dennis Hogan is he lacks power. Okay, and most of his defense is relies solely on his legs. All right, when he's close, he's mid range, close range. His defense is not really that great. He doesn't have the greatest head movement or upper body movement or anything. He's not really that slick. He doesn't have the greatest reflexes, but he does have good timing. He knows when to step in and attack and move out of danger. All right, so I give him a lot of credit for that. All right, from the outside, he'll land some big right hands against Charlo. There'll be points where he'll come in, step in, land a good hook or something, but it's not going to be anything that's going to stun Charlo. All right, uh, Charlo is going to look. The thing with Charlo, I don't like these matchups because not only is Dennis Hogan's not really on his level, but stylistically, these fights are not going to make him look good. Like, if he's not going to be fighting the very elite at 160, at least match him with someone that is going to actually make him look good. You get what I'm saying? Like Brandon Adams, for example. No one really wanted to see that fight. I respect Brandon Adams. I do think he's a good fighter. But stylistically, it made Charlo look bad. And it doesn't hurt that. It doesn't really help that Charlo injured his hand in that fight too. But Brandon Adams, these small, short fighters that are doing a lot of movement, they're not really good for Charlo because he's very, very flat-footed and he has that really wide stance. So when he gives chase to these fighters, it doesn't really look good because he is not really good at chasing movers. Okay, he has to keep resetting himself because he tries to sit down on every one of his punches, and that's the thing. That's the key thing with Charlo. He doesn't waste punches. He doesn't throw a lot of punches. He has a great jab, but when you're moving and you're constantly moving, he's throwing the jab as he's moving. His jab is not really as effective. It's not like when he fought a J Rock or Austin Trout, who's going to be right in front of him trying to outbox him. Okay, these guys went toe to toe with Jamal Charlo, even though he was a puncher. And even though J Rock got knocked out, J Rock was doing well as far as boxing. I thought he was actually outboxing and beating Charlo to the punch for most of the time. But Charlo had that power. So he caught him, nice counter, knocks him out. It is what it is. But that's when Jamal is actually shining. When he's fighting these movers where he has to chase them around, he was able to knock out Centeno Jr. early. Okay, and he did knock out Mike Highland, but he had a leg injury while having that fight against Charlo. So it wasn't really a good, you know, it wasn't a good opponent for Charlo, you know. But fighters like Brandon Adams and Dennis Honig, these shorter fighters that move really well, they're gonna get low on Charlo, and Charlo's not gonna have a good time with landing that jab. These guys are gonna be stepping in low, okay, and Charlo is gonna be swinging and missing. And I've seen it a lot in the Brandon Adams fight, and I'm like, this is just a bad stylistic matchup, and these fights are not there to make Charlo look good. These guys are all guys that Charlo can beat, but not look good against beating them. You know, he's fought better fighters at 154, but those fighters were stylistically they were better for Charlo because he actually had to go toe to toe with them. These guys are gonna they're not really trying to engage with Charlo, and Charlo's not good at chasing people down. He's just not good at doing that. And the thing is too, Charlo needs to start working to the body a lot more with these movers. He has to work on that. That's one thing that Canelo did against Lara. Even though I think Lara beat Canelo, one thing that Canelo did was when at some point he made the adjustment and just started attacking Lara's body. You can't move your whole body away. You could defend yourself low, but it's easier to attack the body. Yeah, you leave yourself open up top, but it's easier to miss going up top. And the thing is, when Charlo is fighting these guys that are constantly moving, he needs to start throwing some big power shots, some hooks to the body. He needs to, as these guys are moving. Dennis Hogan is going to move even more than Brandon Adams did. So he's going to give Charlo some issues, but being that Dennis Hogan doesn't move his head that much, I expect Charlo to land a big right hand at some point and knock him out at some point. I don't know which round it will be, but I expect him to knock out Dennis Hogan. I don't expect Hogan to do better than Brandon Adams did. I think Brandon Adams was better at moving his head and getting low. Hogan is more about moving and timing and stepping in at certain opportunities. I think Charlo at some point is going to land a right hand because I saw Jaime Magia land some right hands that were pretty good. It's just that it didn't really hurt Hogan. I think Charlo is going to land a right hand and definitely drop, if not knock out, he's definitely going to drop Hogan at some point or hurt him in his fight at some point, maybe a couple of times before he gets him out of there. So I have Charlo winning this one by stoppage at some point. I don't know when, but at some point. But if it does go to the decision, I wouldn't be surprised because Dennis Hogan knows how to move and keep himself away out of danger. And I think he's going to be moving and running for the most part. Charlo needs to not chase him. Don't chase him like Jaime Magia did. That's exactly what Hogan wants to do. You'll be fighting his fight, and you don't want to do that. Don't move. Don't chase him. Don't chase him. Come forward, inch closer. But at some point, he's got to win on points as well. So if you don't give chase, he's going to have to come and fight to you. All right? So anyway, I think Charlo's going to win by knockout. All right? That's my prediction. As far as Chris Eubank against Matt Korobov, a lot harder to tell. A lot harder to tell because Matt Korobov right now looked great against Jamal Charlo. Many and most people feel that Charlo lost that fight. All right, I was there that night. Um, a lot of people there in the building thought both Charlos lost that night. All right. Um, First of all, I think it's a good idea that these guys are not fighting on the same card. All right, I think that was a big mistake and to begin with, especially because Jamel lost right before Jamal. Don't want to take anything away from Matt Korobov because I know how good Matt Korobov is. I know. A lot of people didn't know that night. The thing is, Matt Korobov is a great, well decorated fighter. He's a former champion at 160. Okay. And he is a very well decorated amateur. He was. All right. I believe that Jamal could have been affected by his brother losing in the fight before his. Okay. He looked terrible in that fight against Matt Korobov. That was the worst I've seen him up to this point. They gave him a win, regardless, but Matt Korobov is a different level from these other fighters that Jamal has been facing. All right, especially at 160. Matt Korobov is a very, very good technical fighter. All right, his counter punching ability is top notch. His straight left hand is very sharp. All right, and now that he's more active and he's been fighting, even though he's older, and I do believe he's past his prime. He's still staying in tip top shape, and we saw that in the Jamal Charlo fight. I was very surprised that they picked Matt Korobov. I think that was a bad replacement because Matt Korobov is better than Willie Monroe Jr. in my opinion. All right, and Willie's good, but Willie doesn't have the left hand that Matt Korobov had. I think they were trying to find a replacement that was also a southpaw, and being that Matt wasn't really active at that point, I was really amazed to see how great his physique was when he showed up at that weigh-in that day. And I said, this guy's been preparing like he knew he was going to fight. All right? So anyway, let's talk about this fight with Eubank. Now, when I first heard the news, I said Matt Korobov is going to win. He's going to outpoint him. I mean, I've never been impressed with Eubank's boxing ability, His boxing IQ is not really that great to me. I think he's very powerful. I think he's explosive. I think he can outwork you without a doubt. But he's going to be walking into left hands all night. As long as this fight lasts, he's going to be walking into left hands by Matt Korobov. But Matt Korobov is older, and he is going to slow down. He did slow down a bit against Jamal Charlo. All right? Whether you think he won against Charlo or not, he did slow down in that second half. All right? And he got badly hurt in that last round. I think Chris Eubank Jr., he's not a guy that's going to back down even when he's being outboxed. When Chris Eubank Jr. is being outboxed, he just turns the volume up and attacks even more. He's going to put a lot of pressure on Matt Korobov. Matt Korobov is going to have to stay, he's going to have to stay sharp for the entire 12 rounds. And as good as I think his left hand is, and I think he's going to be landing shots all night long with Chris Eubank, I don't think he's going to be able to stop Chris Eubank. Not with that. All right, Chris Eubank, he's very explosive, man, and he won against James DeGale. I think that was probably one of his best wins to date, even though James is past his prime as well. Uh, I saw what he did against James DeGale, and DeGale is a better boxer to me than Chris Eubank, but Chris Eubank was just so physically strong, and he just kept attacking James. He just wouldn't let off him. It didn't matter if he was getting hit with left hands. Eubank is going to attack you. He did it against Billy Joe Saunders. You know, Saunders was outboxing him the entire first half of that fight. But when Saunders slowed down, Chris Eubank took over. He's going to make it an ugly fight. He's going to bully you. He's going to make it physical. He's going to be, that's him. Korobov is not going to be comfortable. I know he's going to try to slow down the pace, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to slow it down. But Chris Eubank is going to be looking to turn it up. So I personally believe that this fight is going to go to decision, but regardless, I think as close as the fight may be, and even if Korobov is winning, even if he is winning, or if I think he slightly won the fight, I still believe it's going to be more than enough. I think Eubank is going to do more than enough to convince the judges, and you guys know what I mean, that he won the fight. All right? Regardless of what Korobov does. I don't even think Chris Eubank technically sound is better than Jamal Charlo. But I think Chris Eubank is going to do better than Jamal Charlo did. All right? Just because the fact that he had a full camp to prepare for Matt Korobov. We know what he's coming with. You know, Chris is going to be looking to slip some of those left hands and attack. But he's going to eat some. He's definitely going to eat some. All right? So, I have Chris Eubank winning this one by decision. And I believe if he is to win, he fights Jamal Charlo. Because Jamal Charlo should be winning this fight. He should be winning the fight. So I see that fight happening in the near future. All right. So that's my breakdown of fights tonight. I will be there in the building. So anyone that's there, I will be in section 24. I'll be sitting right above the floor seats. All right. So I'll be there. So anyone, you know, any of the subscribers, the fans, if you see me, say hello. Always what's up. Always friendly with anyone that I see at the fights. Always. Everybody that comes up. If you see me, I'm cool, approachable. You know, it's whatever. You know, if you want to argue about boxing, if I have some time, I'll do it. But I'll be at the fight later tonight. So I'll see you guys in 2 hours. In less than 2 hours, I'll be back here live. So make sure you tune into that.